and welcome to Ukikicast episode 7. As always, I'm your host, OneTed59. We have a very special guest today. Our guest today, an excellent TASer of a lot of different games, least of all of them, SM64. Hello today to MKDasher. How you doing today, MK?
Hey, what's up? I'm good.
Nice to hear. So, starting off, for people that may not follow TASes that much, or Mario Kart DS that much, for people that aren't very familiar with you, who are you and what do you do?
So basically I'm MKDasher. I have been doing YouTube content since like 2008, and I have been involved in like various speedrunning communities. Like first it was Mario Kart. Then I jumped to Super Mario 64, where I mainly did tool-assisted speedrunning, and then I also joined Pokemon community. So, I mean, I have always been involved with Nintendo communities.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was mostly those.
Wow. Yeah, you're in a ton of them. You're one of the few SM64 TASers that actually TASes like other games, which is great. So, I mentioned when interviewing a couple people like Quate, Tyler Caney, that there's some people that have predated me in the scene. Tyler predated me by a couple months, but you've been involved in at least SM64 TAS for quite a lot longer, having been involved since at least 2012 when the 120 star TAS was made. So with that in mind, how did you first get into SM64?
Okay, so with SM64 as a game itself, it was because I played it as a child. So it was like in the early 2000s, 2001, which was, I think, when Project 64 was first released. So I actually didn't have a Nintendo 64, but I already had a PC with emulator. So
yeah,
that's when I first played the game, and then I didn't play the game until almost maybe 2007, 2008, and it was when I first watched tool-assisted speedruns on tasvideos.org. I think it was the Super Mario Zero Star TAS by, I don't know if it was the Shortless Link and AKA.
Which TAS was it?
I think it was the Zero Star TAS by Shortless Link and AKA. Yeah. And I obviously didn't understand what was going on because I didn't know back then what was a tool-assisted speedrun. And then after that, since it was I mean, for every game that I have been playing like lately, it was because I played it as a child. So it happened the same with Super Mario 64. So I wanted to like get into a speedrunning community. And in the end, it was like I decided to do it in 2012.
Nice. So that was essentially, well, first of all, I'm going to report you to Nintendo, mister. Emulation is illegal, obviously. But,
yeah.
So since 2012, you've became like one of the real top names in SM64, or just not even SM64, just like TASing in general. So how did you manage to get so good over the years?
Yeah, so I picked like Super Mario 64 really quickly, and it's funny because I tried to pick it much before, like in 2010, but I realized that at that time Super Mario 64 was probably the most optimized tool-assisted speedrun, like that involved 3D or that had like very hard movement. Like I'm not taking into account probably some NES games, which
like
are
the original
probably,
Mario.
Yeah, which are probably easier to optimize. And I tried to learn how to tool-assisted speedrun other games just to get into Super Mario 64 at the very end. And then when I joined the community, I found it wasn't like I expected to be like much harder to me.
Yeah.
But I picked it really quickly, and it was just a couple of months after I found myself working into big projects, and I don't know, I guess it's just the way I approach tool-assisted speedrunning in general. I picked it like really quickly. I wouldn't know how to explain it.
I mean, yeah, that's fine. Well, I mean, like, Yeah, you've just done so much for the scene, and like I'm very much appreciative of it and all the work you've done. So I've talked with a lot of people about different like eras of SM64, from like all the way back on the forums to like when everybody was on Skype to the Facebook group to Discord. So you've been around. Well, you've been around since like it's way back then. How would you say? Let me rephrase. What do you wish was still around back then versus now in the TASing community?
Sorry, can you repeat?
What or who do you wish was still around from back then in the earlier eras of SM64 compared to now?
Let me think. So people I probably miss. I mean that they are not active. Not. I mean, probably as a TASers, like maybe like Silence Layers, who is still an active TASer, but I wish like he was able to TAS more. But people that have been like not really active right now, maybe Nahok. Because I worked so much with him in 2012, and I kind of miss like seeing him TASing.
Yeah.
And other people that were in the scene back then, like Kaiman and Molotov, maybe.
Oh yeah, some of the really old names that have been around forever too.
Yeah. I'm trying to think about more names, but I don't know. I
mean, that makes sense.
Like, yeah, I'm probably missing some more, but yeah.
Yeah. So, how has the community changed over the years?
So yeah, I know you mentioned like the first days were like Skype days, but before that it was MSN Messenger.
Oh wow!
I kind of joined when the community. Bit. Yeah, I kind of joined when the community was already moving to Skype. But I know people back in the day like Sonic Packer, Nahok, and Silence Layers, and those people talked in MSN Messenger. So yeah, and the community has changed a lot because right now I think the community is much bigger than it was before.
Yeah.
And also the biggest difference I think is that now the speedrunning community is much bigger than it was before. Like back in 2010, I think the TASing community was bigger than the speedrunning community in Mario 64.
Really?
Yeah, because I think that the speedrunning communities didn't get much big until the live streams became like a popular thing. And that's when Twitch came out. There were already people like live streaming in how was it called, Justin TV, or I don't remember.
Yeah, it was Justin TV.
Yeah, but the speedrunning wasn't as popular until maybe Cyclemic came out back in 2011. So I think that TASing community was a bit bigger. Well, I don't know, but I think so. And yeah, it was like a Skype group with maybe 10 people, 11 people. There was like more talk in forums instead of having a Discord, like a big platform.
Yeah.
So I guess the communication is very different, and also now there's like much more people. There are much more resources to learn how to TAS. So I think it's very different.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of people that it's been a lot more open, I think, too, with how just like random people just coming in and being like, hey, I want to TAS.
Yeah, exactly.
So one thing that I do miss a little bit compared to back then is some of the active, more Japanese community in terms of TASing.
Yeah.
I've gotten to see a couple of them come back a little bit during the middle of 2020 during the TAS competitions. So what was how did the old Japanese TAS community work?
And so the Japanese community back then, the thing is the Japanese community kind of died just after I started in the scene, like in 2012, like the community was already there. But just after the 120 star TAS was released, the Japanese TASers became like very less active, except for a few TASers that have been still TAS.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I want to tell, now that you mentioned Japanese TASers, I miss a lot of them. Like Eru, I wish he was like more active. Mickey, I was really surprised that he came back. The last month, so I miss it a lot. I talk a lot with him in Skype.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and the other two TASers that I miss is Bauru and Nothing.
Yeah.
They were like really good back then, and probably in 2012 they were like the best TASers in my opinion.
Oh wow.
In terms of, because I mean it's like a Snark is like the most the guy that optimizes the most, but I think Bauru and Nothing had like the all around skills. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, the TASing community was like very separated from the non-Japanese community. And well, I mean, we had a lot of issues with that during the 120 star TAS process, because we had some inputs from them. They didn't like them they didn't want them us to use them for the final TAS, and well. We had but the communication wasn't easy because I mean, we were able to talk like with Mickey, Gohan also. He speaks like English really well, but the others, they were like either you gave a YouTube comment or something, but you couldn't really communicate with them.
Yeah, they would be able to communicate as well as I would be able to communicate with them in Japanese.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, that's interesting. So why would they not want you to use that input?
Yeah, so I think it's kind of the same that is happening now. Like this is the thing about how do you approach a 120 star TAS, and some people think that, okay, let's just make a 120 star TAS with what we have now and just complete a final product. And some other people is like, we don't want to finish this until it's like 100% optimized.
Yeah.
And the Japanese TASers were all in that second. They all wanted to be like 100% optimized. Yeah. And they were actually keeping files private, and they didn't want to share all of the content they had. But then it's true that it was kind of our fault, but Sonic Parker, Nahok, and I, which were like the main people that worked on the 120 star TAS, we actually took their files, we shared the M64 files with the whole non-Japanese community, and they didn't like that much. So
well, it happens.
And yeah, in the end, we finally, we completed the TAS, but yeah, the Japanese community didn't want to, didn't like it that much.
That's, well.
So yeah, that's basically what happened, but well.
It's all in the past now at this point. That was almost 10 years ago, honestly.
Yeah, it has been a while since then, yeah.
So, on the topic of the 120 star TAS, so how did that actually like get together? Like, how did that start?
So I cannot tell anything before 2012 because I wasn't there. So I started in the community in March 2012, which was exactly when the 70 star TAS came around. So I wasn't there, but in, let's say, summer 2012, there was like a new intention of starting a 120 star TAS. Like after like 2 or 3 months, like the community wanted to start it again, but then the community would get stuck in 1 star or something. So it was at this point when Sonic Parker, Nahok, and I decided to let's just continue, and we want to. I mean, at this point we just want to have a 120 star completed, because the only task completed back then was the Riku's TAS, which was a 139, and it's like
It's slow.
It's not really showing. Yeah, it's not really showing any optimized tool, strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, you can now tell that that TAS has a lot of flaws, and you can improve a lot of them. But you can see that the strategies used back then are very up to date until now. Like there are not that many new things, except for maybe PUs but.
Well, yeah, but.
We just took all the single star TASes we had, and basically we just tasked the 100 coin TASes, and the rest was just taking all the files, trying to RNG manipulate as best as we can. It was when I first started to learn how to use Lua scripts, so
yeah.
So that was used for RNG manipulation, and we finally completed the whole task, and we just released it.
Nice. So, that's because I'm just saying, in your YouTube hype video, you say it was 5 years worth of work. So I'm just saying.
Because all the content we took was from the previous 5 years. Like. It's like all the single star TASes that had been worked in the previous 5 years, we took all that and we joined it. But the actual task, like how long it took, it was probably 4 months.
I was always under the impression it was like being worked on specifically for a lot longer. That's good to know.
Yeah.
So with talking about those single star TASes, actually no, let's hold off on single star TASes for a little bit. So how did you expect the 120 star TAS to be received? Because the last one had been around since was Riku's in 2007. It had been a long time since an updated one. How did you think about that?
So I think it was going to receive very well, and I think that's how that was happened at the time, because we actually made a lot of hype around that test. Like when like a lot of people can remember the Nahox hype video.
Oh yeah, that's still a classic.
Yeah. We work a lot on doing that. Sonic Parker and I also, and the Japanese community didn't have that much impact into the main TASing community back then, which was tasvideos.org. And everybody knew back then that also the Super Mario 64 community was the biggest or the second biggest TAS community back then also. So people knew that the final content was going to be good. I guess people cannot tell how optimized it is, because when you are just watching a run, you can tell if a strategy is good or not, but you cannot tell if it's improvable by 2 frames. You know? So the final content, I thought it was going to receive very well, because we actually had like many new stuff that we didn't show until it was released. There were like a couple of stars. For example, the
that makes a lot of sense.
In
it was
Tiny Huge Island. And the monkey death warp.
Oh yeah, the Death Star glitch.
The Death Star glitch. That we had a lot of the stars that we didn't show, so it was like also building more hype. I think we did a good job in publicizing the TAS in the previous months.
Yeah, it was. I remember I wasn't even like aware of like what TASes were at the time. That didn't even really happen until later for me. And I still remember like being super hyped about like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, oh man, they're going through the walls and through the doors.
Yeah.
And they do have to swim at that one point. But anyway, that was a great era of SM64. So let's go back to the single star thing that I was talking about earlier. So you mentioned how 120 star TAS kind of stitched together a lot of the existing single star times. What's the process of how someone would actually like work on a single star back then?
I don't think it differs that much from now, except that people wouldn't just release an M64 file in Discord and so everybody can watch. It's more like somebody will just work on a TAS and then it will be uploaded to YouTube, and then other people will just probably take information of that video and make it by himself and upload an improvement. And then maybe if you knew the other person, you could ask via MSN Messenger or Skype or whatever about that file. We also had this website. It was SM64.org, yeah. And there were forums there that people would submit their M64 files as well. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of like that. Like, one people would work on it. There were also cooperative works back by the time. I remember having a few with Nonsense, for example, in Piranha's Plants. Like, it's kind of a meme now, because I was like, I learned like Mario 64 TASing so fast, but I wasn't able to do pipe clips. And he still remembers it. He still remembers to me that now.
That's pretty funny.
And yeah, like, I mean, if there were like two people interested and they knew each other, they could work on a start together. And I mean, it's true that right now it cannot happen that much, but it was a time of discovering things and applying to start. So
yeah,
I think it was even more like that 2 years before I entered, because in 2012 there were a lot of stuff discovered already. But yeah, it was like, okay, I found this strat is faster, I'm gonna upload a video, and then another upload a video optimizing it. It was more like sharing in YouTube and maybe ask privately about M64s.
So it was a bit more or less open, but there was more stuff to find.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see, that's really interesting to me, actually, because I obviously, that predates all me. So when I was around, it was basically like, hey, I really just came around during like the one key era of that.
Yeah.
So speaking of one key, how did working on that project, which was, I believe, the first like real big SM64 project since 120, how did working on that project differ from the 120 star TAS?
Okay, so I remember that after 120 star TAS, I did a bit of TASing in 2013, but then I don't know, I think I lost motivation because I didn't know what to do. There weren't TAS competitions back then.
Yeah.
So I didn't do a lot of Super Mario 64 stuff, but then I saw the PU video that Sonic Parker uploaded that showed that it was possible to get through the mode tour. And as soon as I saw that video, I got interested again. Obviously, I talked to him, and then I entered in this famous Facebook group where we were all going to work on this project. And it was actually very interesting because I really loved working with Tyler Kinney, because it was like he would teach me a lot about how to understand there was a lot of things that were discovered at that time because of that. First, it was parallel universes. Something really interesting that was discovered was actual quarter frames.
Oh yeah.
Like the reaction we all had is like, okay, we knew that was a thing, but we didn't understand how it worked. So
so you had to essentially just
knowing
like
what
try it until it worked, like, instead of actually like understanding it.
Really good. Yeah. And while he was like teaching me how to do all this, I was like trying to teach him how to the basic concepts of TASing and helping with that. So I remember, for example, when we were working on the PU in the mode, he was like, okay, I need to exit the mode with, I don't know, 3 million speed. Can you get that, please? And I will get that. I will do like the TASing part, and then I gave the file to him, and he will do all the swimming and that, and pulling off the PU, because I didn't really understand how it worked back then. But yeah, I learned a lot of stuff in that time, because like so many new things came out. Like I think Tyler Kinney like did really revolutionize TASing, like, and how to understand the game.
Oh yeah, like on a more technical level versus kind of like
exactly.
Yeah, versus more like heuristically before that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like before, all the data we had is RAM memory, so it was like, okay, we knew that I don't know, a BLJ, the highest speed you can get for a BLJ setup is like minus 15.99999. All that stuff that you can see.
Yeah.
But all the things that work inside, we didn't know anything, or almost anything. So it was when Tyler Kinney came out that we learned a lot of that stuff.
Huh. So, yeah, that's... I never really thought about how, like, concepts today that I now take for granted, like, stuff like that, like quarter frames, for example, is like I some part of my head was just like, oh, yeah, they must have known about those in, like, 2012 or something, but...
Yeah, it's like we actually knew about them but the way we took that is like, okay, I know I'm frame advancing, and Mario's like not even moving, so I'm just going to change my angle so Mario moves more. Yeah. But we didn't really understand exactly what was happening there.
Yeah, you were doing a treatment rather than a cure for the issue.
Yeah, exactly.
So with all the technological advancements, how have those changed? Like nowadays versus back then, you had to like just essentially kind of just wiggle around a little bit and try to get those. Now with all the like the knowledge and decomp and Stroop and your own input Lua that you made, how does that compare to the stuff back then?
Okay, yeah, so that's the three main things that has changed a lot. Like the decomp has helped understand the internal things of the game, so people actually now can explain every single trick that happened. Like before that, we knew the tricks, but some of them we probably couldn't explain properly. And I don't know if I can think of any other example right now, but yeah, exactly. And yeah, Stroop, for example, was a really big thing.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I have been using it since it was released. Like there was a lot of people from my era, I think, that had tried to like be still using MHS or something. Because I mean, I guess you get used to it, and it's actually hard to change. And I can get some advantage of it. Like MHS can be like configured in a very small square, and probably Stroop like takes more space. So if you are really used to it, I understand that it's hard to change.
Yeah.
But I have always been trying to adapt to the new situation. So
yeah.
So I think and Stroop gives a lot of information that you actually need to know in order to be able to TAS properly. And decomp as well. And in the input Lua, it was something I wanted to do back in 2012, but I didn't have enough knowledge to work on that. And then as soon as I remembered that I wanted to do it in 2017, I was like, okay, I need to do this. And I think it has helped a lot. In terms of time consuming, because like lately, I don't know, I can probably give the example of Plush. He has been testing some stars that he took like 90k frames or something like that. If he wanted to do the same level of optimization with input Lua, it would have been like much more.
Yeah, it just helps a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then how long would you say you actually worked on that? Like, you say you came out in like 2017 was when you got the idea, but like,
I mean, I had the idea
actually put
much
into
before,
that,
and I don't know how long it took me to do it. I don't think it was that much even. So the thing with Input Lua is that I didn't know how to do it before because I needed to do some technical stuff like how to calculate the actual movement based on a formula and the camera and etc. And it was as soon as it was work on Stroop, like Panen was trying to do that in Stroop, but he had the problem that if trying to do this as an external tool, since the emulator have a 2-frame delay, you couldn't actually do a input Lua. Like you could do something like that, but you will need to
you need to know like 2 frames in the future. Yeah,
exactly. So as soon as I knew that all this stuff was known, I just asked Pan and Coke like about these formulas, and I did everything on the Lua, and it came out to like really quickly. It probably took me 3-4 days.
Oh wow.
And I mean, that was like the first version, which wasn't like really nice and nice looking, but then I kept working on it because everybody actually wanted to do that.
Everyone was like, oh, wow,
the thing I like about the input Lua is like, as I said, for example, in Stroop, people took time to adapt to the new system and the new
tool.
The new tool. But for input Lua, it was like everybody picked the input Lua straight away, and nobody even came back to not using it.
Yeah, because it's just so useful, right?
Because it's just so useful and so easy to use that now nobody that knows how to use it tries to does anything without it.
Yeah, it just saves so much time. It's just so much time saving.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, I want to talk about a little bit, changing topics a little bit. I want to talk about your most recent project in SM64 that you worked on, the Shindo BLJ-less TAS, showcased at GDQ 2020. This is the most recent release project, I should say. So how did that project come about?
Yeah, showcasing, it was SGDQ, right?
Yeah, it was SGDQ 2020. I was there.
And you gave the commentary of that.
Yeah,
that was really nice.
Thank you.
And so I am okay. Let me think about that. Yeah, so it was Super Devo, I think, who discovered that it was possibly faster to go to BOB at the beginning instead of doing the hyperspeed wall kicks in the lobby.
Yeah.
And as soon as he found that it was possibly faster and people started working on it, I was like, okay, I think I'm finally motivated to do something because I saw potential in that project. And I thought that it could also show a lot of new things, so that also gave me more motivation.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I need to think about the other parts of the run to see if they can be improved as well. And I guess one of the good things I have done is that I have the experience since 2012, and I have seen a lot of tool-assisted speedrun videos of Super Mario 64 that I remember almost everything that has been done in the past. So I remember that TOT did a very fast setup in the 30 star door skip. Yeah. But I didn't find the video and then after that I found the video, but not when I was working on the Shindo BLJ-less. But at the end I figured it out how it worked, and I think it was Fitzpence who also worked on that with me. He figured out how to build the speed at the very beginning the fastest way, and we end up saving, it was more than a minute over the previous submit run. that Snark did, I think. We saved like 64 seconds or something on his TAS.
Yeah, and that's huge.
Just on that section. Then it's like everything like came out like really well, because then I was like, okay, I'm going to try Dark World and see if I can improve something. Mm-hmm. I found like some strategies at the very beginning, but I was like, okay, I'm maybe going to save 3 or 4 frames. But then Just Man, I think he linked me to an idea that was recorded by Circum Arc, and I don't know who discovered this route, but it was the frame walking.
In Bowser in the Dark World.
Yeah, it was the frame walking. We actually didn't even know if that was going to save time, but then we did it like super fast. Then Tyler Kane suggested me a fastest strat, and I did it, and it saved almost 2 seconds. So it was like, okay, we are doing like so this started as a project that it was like a very, very tiny, well, not a tiny improvement, but there was only one change at the very beginning of the run. But then we are finding like improvements that are really, really big in every part of the run. So I got like even more hype. Then Dylan touches the final part of the run. Then Darkos optimized the whole BOB section, and I think he optimized the Bowser in the Sky entry also. And yeah, I end up with doing Dire Dogs and Bowser in the Sky, and it came out as a whole new project, and it was really nice.
Yeah, it was really good. I was very excited for that project because it was the first.
Yeah,
I was around for like the One Key project, obviously, but that was when I was like really new. This is the first time I actually knew what was actually going on in a project.
Yeah.
I was very excited. And obviously, I mean, I got to commentate it, but I was just
and that was also really nice that we got the opportunity to show that on Summer SDDQ. Because we were like actually showing something new. It was like in the previous GDQs were always showing One Key, Zero Star, like showing BLG, like Shindo any percent was like really cool.
Yeah, it was different too. People are like, "Oh, I know Mario. They just do all this the whole time." You know, they've seen One Key at that point. It was a new project. So that was really cool, and I was glad I was able to actually show that off. But
yeah, I liked that project a lot. Also because I was like trying to lead it at the end, because. As soon as I saw it had potential, I was like, I want this project to be done. Like, I think that's something that I have been trying to work on when I am involved in a project. I think I helped a lot in all the projects to be completed and see what is left. So in the One Key, we had a lot of problems with the zigzag. Do you remember the zigzag movement at the beginning of the run?
Oh yeah, the zigzag.
Yeah, that was like really hard. Then I was actually sad that we found a better movement. But I helped a lot on that. Like I want this to be done. So in the 120 star also, I was like, okay, I want this project to be finished. And in this one, I was the same. I was like, okay, I will work on every part that nobody wants to work on, and so the project gets finished. Yeah.
Yeah, that was. Man, now I'm just thinking about the zigzag movement. I gotta have Stick link that in the description because that was so cool. It was like you're going all over the place just to get the backwards jump into.
I think the zigzag movement is the most accurate thing that we have ever done in a TAS in Super Mario 64. Tyler Kinney had to develop a
simulator
to get that, and once he figured it out, the whole movement of that, I had to like optimize perfectly up to, because he was simulating from the VLJ, the previous steps, and I had to like frame task to like, I don't know, it was like 3 or 4 decimals of the X and Z position in one specific frame. Jeez. And then it worked, and it was like, okay, nice.
And now we just BLJ directly into it. And people don't understand how hard it is because it looks like they're just BLJing straight into it.
Yeah. Yeah, and the problem is that new strat is much easier than the zigzag, which took a lot of time to figure out. But, well, I mean, it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And speed is king at the end of the day, so.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So, I mentioned earlier that you're pretty rare among the SM64 TASers to actually TAS other games. Like, there's only a couple, like Xander does. Oh God, are there any more? There's only a couple people. So, you, including not just doing other games, but you've also, I believe, the only TASer to directly work on the remake of Super Mario 64 on the DS. So, how does TASing that game differ from the original?
So yeah, before that, as I said before, the only reason I decided to TAS Super Mario 64 DS is because, as I said, I wanted to get into the Super Mario 64 community, but I didn't think that I had enough knowledge to be involved in the Super Mario 64. I was like, what am I even going to do if everything is very good optimized? So I just took the little brother, Super Mario 64 DS, which nobody does it before, and it's okay, this is my opportunity to learn how to TAS a game and figure out stuff by myself. Then I was able to work on a few TASes, and then as soon as I thought that I was prepared, that's when I moved to Super Mario 64. So talking about Super Mario 64 DS, I think it's actually very different.
Significantly so.
Routing and all that is kind of the same, but the mechanics are a bit different, and the movement is really hard to do compared to Mario 64, because in Mario 64 you just had to input your direction to one angle, and you are going to get one angle. But in Super Mario 64 DS, I mean, I haven't been involved in the community since probably 2013, so probably there's much more knowledge right now.
Oh yeah,
but when I work on that, I was the only person along with Alacton working on that. And the problem is that your movement is relative to where you start holding your stylus. Let's say that
I gotcha.
Yeah. Let's say that you start pressing your stylus a bit top right on the screen.
That's the new neutral position.
Then that's a relative movement. If you move a bit to the right, then Mario is going to move to the right. If you move from there to the left, Mario is going to move to the left, even though in your screen you are still a bit to the right. So yeah, it's a lot of relative movement. Also, walking and running depends on how. I mean, you can walk and run depending on how far away your previous input was in the stylus. I don't know if that makes sense.
It makes sense, yeah. It's relative.
Yeah. So it was actually really hard, and
oh man.
Movement was really hard, and to get used to that. But I got the experience on finding new stuff that I thought in Super Mario 64 it was really hard to do, because a lot of stuff was already discovered. So that was nice to do. Yeah.
And I mean, even today, I think the DS has, more untapped potential in terms of the stuff it has, just by virtue of having a smaller community. But
yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So which one is the better TAS? Winky face.
I don't know. I think I still like more Super Mario 64. The way it works. I think Super Mario 64 DS, the problem with the D-pad and the stylus is it's harder to do.
It makes it much more complicated.
And it's not even more rewarding. So I think I will still stick to Super Mario 64.
Right answer. Correct.
Yeah.
So that isn't the only DS game that you've TASed. You've also done and contributed to a lot of different Pokemon games, both on the DS and on other systems. So how does the process for a task like Pokemon compare to a platformer like Mario 64?
Yeah, the process is like 100% different, because in Super Mario 64, let's say that you need to be able to route and plan a task. There's also a community behind, and probably if you don't even know how to route properly, you can still work on optimizing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But in Pokemon Pearl, it's like 50% about knowing how to route, 49% about knowing the internal mechanics of the game and RNG and all of that, and it's 1% execution. Like, the execution is the easiest part. You don't really need to work on that, but if you don't know how the game works and if you don't know how to do a proper route, you are not going to get anything.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because the movement isn't really the focus of the game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's still improvements that I found that were related to movement.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, I don't know how familiar you are with Pokemon, but
you're talking about the Emerald Bonk? Did you find that?
Yeah, exactly. I found that. Yeah. That's the main example I was going to give. Like,
so what is that for reference?
So when your character is like facing one direction,
mm-hmm.
if you press forward to that direction, the character is just going to move straight away. Mm-hmm. But if you change your direction, the character is going to take a few frames to turn around, and then it's going to move.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have something in front of you, like an NPC or a wall or something, it's faster to press up, so you bonk into that wall, and then you change your direction to the right or something. So that saves a couple of frames, and obviously it's faster in the run.
Yeah.
So there's little stuff that you can find that, but it's most about route planning and understanding RNG. Like, RNG is like everything.
Yeah. Oh God. It'd be like if the entire game was Snowman's Land 100 coins.
And it's much more. But the thing is, for example, in Super Mario 64, like, there's a lot of decom right now, and in Pokemon, because of competitive Pokemon, there were a lot of resources that were already there about mm-hmm. how RNG works.
Yeah.
So it was easy to work from there, and then like. I also had to find the stuff, but it was easier in that aspect.
Yeah, because with how crazy competitive Pokemon is, people have like they don't even care what a TAS was. They're like, what's that? I just want to beat everybody with my full team.
And it's the same. And also there was a TASer before me, which was Fractal Fusion. He's a TASer from tasvideos.org, mm-hmm. and he documented a lot of Pokemon speedrunning and TASing in the Generation 3 mainly, mm-hmm. so I could take all that information to do what I did, and it was really nice.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed your Pokemon TASes that you've made. How did you route? This is just like a small question. How did you even route the Void section in the Pearl TAS, the most recent one?
Yeah, okay, that's actually really hard to explain without understanding like all the concepts that are behind, because you need to understand about how the map works, and it's basically an underflow glitch.
Mm-hmm.
The Void.
Yeah.
Like the I mean, if I wanted to explain like briefly, it will be like the map is stored into the memory RAM, right?
Yeah.
And if you try to, let's say that the map, if you go like to the top left of the map,
mm-hmm.
if you somehow still can move to the left, then then it's kind of an underflow glitch, because you are going to go to the previous value in the RAM mm-hmm. address. And it happened to be the map ID. And if you how to tell?
Manipulate?
If you play around with those map IDs, you can actually get to almost every part of the So you are actually not in the place you think you are, but it's like you are telling the game that you are there. And if there are cutscenes, like for example for the Hall of Fame, you're just activating a cutscene as soon as you get into that area. So it's just as soon as you get into that area, you are going to complete the game. So as soon as you find the number that is the ID number of that area in the ROM, you complete. It's kind of like that. I'm actually trying to work on a video explaining all that.
That'll be great.
I don't know when I will finish it. I will actually explaining. It's more focused on speedrunning. But the cool thing about Pokemon, I mean, from my perspective, is that Generation 4, for example, Pokemon speedrunning and TASing is almost the same.
Yeah, because it's so low level.
Because you can actually control the RNG in a speedrun, so you are actually like live TASing.
Oh wow!
So it's actually really cool, and I have worked on that as well. And I will try to explain how Pokemon Diamond and Pearl any percent world record works, like every aspect of the run. But I don't know when I will finish it. I will try to work on it.
Wow, I'll be looking forward to that. That sounds really cool. Oh man. So that is one DS game. You are Mario Kart Dasher, as it is. You have played Mario Kart DS for a long time. A long time. I was planning to make a joke about how it was Mortal Kombat Dasher, but no, that's not cut.
Yeah, everybody asked that.
So you've had like hundreds of times in what I would call would you consider it your main RTA game? Mario Kart DS?
Yeah, it's my main, and currently is the only one, I think. So, because I mean, if we are talking about the strictly speedrunning, I have only been involved in Mario Kart DS. I tried to enter into Mario Kart Wii, but I wasn't that good. And then when I was involved in Pokemon speedrunning, it was because I found a lot of new strategies and I wanted to do them before anybody else, so to have the free world record. but I never had the motivation to do 2-hour speedruns. I have been always doing time trialing, which is like much shorter. But so yeah, it's my main RTA game.
Nice. So what made you pick up that one versus others in the Mario Kart series? Because you mentioned picking up Wii, for example.
So the way, as I said before, like every new game I have picked is because of games I have picked as a child.
Yeah.
So Super Mario 64 was the main game, the platformer game. But in Mario Kart, I actually started with Mario Kart Super Circuit.
Oh wow.
But I mean, I was actually really young. It was also in the early 2000s, and I didn't even have any contact with any community, so I just played.
Yeah, you're just
casually
playing the game
to myself. I think I was actually pretty good to not being how do you say? I was pretty good, even though I didn't.
Even though you were a noob.
Any contact with even though I didn't have any contact with any community. But then I got in Mario Kart DS was released in 2005, so I think I started playing in 2006 again casually.
Yeah.
But I was the cool thing that Mario Kart DS had, it was there was the staff ghosts that you could beat. So I was it kept motivating me to improve. Then as soon as I thought I was good, internet was getting more popular, in terms of games and forums and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I started to check who had the best records. Then I find out I was still very bad.
Yeah, you think you're really
and
good.
Then it was in. And then in 2008 I decided okay, I want to join this community, and it was when I was 16, 17 years old. I had a lot of free time and I grinded it a lot, and I got really good at the game, and then that's what I have kept playing until now. Right now it will be really hard for me to pick up a new game.
Yeah. Just because you've been playing this one for so long.
Yeah, exactly.
So So basically, you barely missed out on the one time Mario Kart DS was an Evo. Do you know about that?
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, I mean, I was still really young, but by then, so I don't think I will have gone anyway.
But if it ever made a return, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So you've been playing that game since like around like 2006, like that era. So you've had a record stand for a long time. It doesn't stand anymore, but it stood for a really long time, over 11 years. Why did it stand for so long? Like, give me the lowdown.
So there are actually right now, well, that was the Shroom Ride, which stood for 11 years. I think nobody was good at that track, and the run was beatable. I mean, I kind of showed it this year because I beat that time now by 0.7.
Oh yeah, that's pretty big.
Which is really big.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's very tricky because
the cars.
First, the car situation at the very end. Like basically, you had to be like 0.2 or 0.3 faster to actually beat it because the car situation at the very end was really hard. And then finally Max was able to beat it because he had a better ending than me. I think the car situation was kind of the same than my run, but he found a faster ending strat. And then I came back, I improved it, and then I was like, okay, I think I can PR before 2 laps and grind on that and improve it even more. And then that's where the record is standing right now. There's another record that is 11 years old now, which is the Sky Garden shortcut fastest lap.
Oh, really? Huh.
And that's something I grinded a lot back in 2010, and it's a very, very difficult shortcut to pull off, and nobody else has pulled it off yet.
Oh, wow.
So it's funny because it's a fast lap, which it's 18.757, and the second record is 1 second slower.
Wow, and it's been that way for like 10 years or 11 years. That's crazy. Yeah.
So I think that record can still stand for a long time. So let's see.
Yeah, wow.
So because of this, I was checking like what was the longest lasting standing world records by now. And apparently there's a record that hasn't been submitted because the person that got that world record didn't want it to be submitted because it was a Japanese player back in the day, but it has been standing in Super Mario Kart since 2008. So Jeez. That's the longest standing world record right now, I think, from what I have here. Yeah.
That's so long. That's crazy. Oh man.
But I'm happy because I think the second one is currently the Sky Garden flap. So
yeah, I mean, just in a series as massive as Mario Kart, to have a thing just stand for that long is crazy. Great job to you.
Yeah, thank you.
So right now you have more than double the world records of your closest competitor, of the ones that I could find in my brief search. Do you think you're ever going to try and go for the full sweep?
I don't think I can because there are a few tracks that I don't think I'm able to get the world record. I mean, if I wanted to grind so much, I think I would be able to get almost every world record except 2 or 3.
Okay.
But I don't have the time to work on that many different tracks right now. If you see like my activity in Mario Kart DS, like right now is like I come back in like 6 or 7 months. I play from 1 month, then I go away again, and then I maybe, because it's like
it's a big commitment.
It's very hard to play, and it's physically hard to play because of the left hand and the right hand. So
because it's basically like just a bunch of snaking, basically, just going back and forth.
Yeah. So when I was 16 years old, it was like much easier, and that's when I improved the most. But now I still have the level at the top level that I have been having, but it's harder to play. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. So
and right now there are 2 Japanese players that are getting really good, and they are going to take a lot of world records. So let's see at the end of 2021 how many world records I have.
I don't know. I think you still might have a lot. I think.
Yeah, I think I will too, but I probably lose like 10 or 12.
Well, either way, you'll probably still have the one shortcut one.
Yeah.
So, how many DSs have you gone through in your 12-year history with Mario Kart DS?
Okay, that's actually funny because I have only been playing with one DS.
Wow, really?
And I'm going to tell you one thing. I have actually had a second DS, and I couldn't play Mario Kart DS on it because of using DS that much. Like the D-pad gets like
worn in.
Yeah, I will call it like that. And with the new DS, it was like super hard to do the snaking for me. And I couldn't adapt to it. Maybe if I played for 1 month on that, I would have been adapt to it and play normally. But I was like, okay, I cannot play with this, and go back to the previous DS.
So ever since 2007.
Yeah, I broke the DS twice, and
oh no,
I've replaced the shell and all that, but I never changed for a new DS.
Huh? That's That's pretty crazy to me. Playing for Huh. So that DS has had a combined, like, how many world records have you gotten on that one DS?
Oh, so many.
Oh man.
Not the Pokemon World Records. The Pokemon World Records I played on the second DS because I could play properly there.
Because it's less physically demanding.
Yes, less physically demanding. I mean, Pokemon Pearl and Heart Gold have this glitch called tweaking glitch.
Oh, which is actually,
Which is actually, I mean, you actually need to be able to press fast the D-pad. But apart from that, no, it's not that hard to play on that.
Yeah. It's a lot more mental, as we talked about earlier. Yeah. So, switching gears for a bit, I did want to get this section. I'll shorten this section a little bit because we've been going for a while. But switching gears back to SM64, you helped run the SM64 TAS competitions from 2018 to 2020. What was your role in that?
Let me think. Yeah, in 2018 and 2019, which was when I was mostly working on on a task organizer. I was mainly the one that was developing tools to time stuff, and I was the guy that was timing stuff. Because I wasn't really that good at making the tasks.
Makes sense.
There was other people that were better task designers than me.
So
I was involved into all the other parts, but not specifically the task designing role.
Makes sense. So you were the person that was helping a lot with you made just the timing scripts and etc.
Yeah.
Nice. So how often do those actually work? There's had to be at least a couple stories where they just messed up.
You mean as an organizer in general? Or?
I just mean I don't know. The scripts, I guess.
Okay, so for the timing scripts, we didn't have any problem, I think.
That's good.
Except for a few runs, but we found it at the very end. I think that some runs got caught, when people stop recording before they get the star or something. The timing script will tell that it's a DNF or something. But even though we had the timing scripts, people will still double check manually to see if something was a DQ or not. So DQs we checked manually every time. So
nice.
But the timer script by itself, I don't think they had any problem. Nice. We improved the timer script from time to time. Like at the very end of, the Super Mario 64 competitions we had. How was it called? The ones that had like quarterfinals, semifinals.
Oh, the tournament?
Yeah, the tournament. The scripts were much better. Like you took like a whole folder of files, and it will time everything in that folder.
Oh wow!
But yeah, at the beginning it was just inputting the timing script for each of one file, and you just check the time and note it down. But yeah, and I was a bit involved also in the task creating, but I wouldn't
you weren't like a main one
myself. Yeah, I will just do a very, very small test of the tasks just to see okay, it can be interesting or not.
Nice. Well, yeah, those are some very interesting tasks, so good job. Your tests worked pretty well.
Yeah.
So you didn't just work behind the scenes in the task competitions too. You also were an entrant in a lot of them. You even won a full set in the 2018 competition. So in that moment, how did you feel to know that you were the best in the community?
Community. the best in task competition, I guess, because
that's fair. Yeah.
you cannot really take the saying who is the best like in TASing in general, Super Mario 64.
Yeah,
because I think task competition requires something different. That, for example, single stars. Like single stars, the most rewarding thing is being able to optimize, or being able to be super creative. That's something that hasn't found before. But in task competition, it's rewarded when you are consistent at TASing on a high level and having a lot of experience. So yeah, I think in 2018. The community was growing a lot, but not everybody had that experience that probably they have now.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of advantage, even though there were people that were already really good.
But there was just less of them.
I knew, I was TASing in the competition, and I knew for the fact that if I did a good run, I was going to get top 3. Because the way I tasked back then, the way I approach TASing in competitions, I knew that people were going to screw up somewhere because they don't think of how to optimize properly, and I was like very consistent in that thing.
Nice.
Because I think people as I said, is not the same in task competition and single stars, and I think in task competition people will task a lot by feelings. For example, you are in a place and it's like you have to get this red coin. It looks the fastest, and okay, I have found a super cool strategy, so I'm just going to do this without testing everything else.
Yeah.
And I was different. I was okay, first I'm going to calculate the movement that takes the less distance, then I'm going to check similar routing, and I was building my strategy. I think I have been planning my TASing more than people have been just straight away TASing for the beginning. I'm missing a lot of strats, so I think that's why I was better in task competition back then. Now I think there's a lot of people that are good, so it wouldn't be the same.
I don't know. Don't sell yourself short. That's all I have to say.
I don't know either.
Nice. Well, so, which is your favorite run that you did, you think?
That I did?
Yeah, that you did.
That's hard because, I guess it's 2 of them. Probably Bowser in the Dark World when I work on the Shindo glitchless. because of what it meant. It was like, okay, we are finding improvements of 2 seconds in 2019, which is like really hard. Well, I guess you can tell the same about the 30-star skip, but it also meant that we were going to be able to do a new project that had a lot of stuff. But talking about maybe single stars, the thing I had the most fun doing was when we tased Tiny Huge Island 100 coins.
Oh yeah, because that's for like the first time, you mean?
Yeah. Because there was already a task by Bauru showing the strategy.
Yeah.
But I RNG manipulate the first 3 Goombas perfectly. I found a new strat and understood a bit more how the glitch worked, and it was really fun to test that.
Yeah,
the thing is, I always wanted to have a competition task with this glitch involved, but nobody wanted to.
Oh, that would have been so much fun. Because no one knows how it works. It
felt like really cool testing that because it was like a new glitch, and I had the most fun with that single star.
Yeah, I could definitely understand why, because the shell glitch just makes it opens up so many possibilities that you never see.
Like, yeah.
Including just like at the very end of that star and the outside just clipping through the wall, going straight to the entrance.
Yeah, I found that strat by a chance, by mistake. I was like, I jumped into the Goomba on the top of that, and then I kept running the emulator, and then I suddenly went through the map, and I think I found a shortcut.
Wow. And I mean, I love the shell glitch so much. It's like, and especially now that it might be useful in Snowman's Land 100, not 100, but Reds.
Yeah, that new strat that Eru did, I think, that was super cool to see.
Yeah, the forwards, backwards, long jump.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Eru has to be one of my favorite testers of what things he is able to find.
Yeah, he's so creative.
Yeah.
Like Death Star
no
glitch,
matter how many tools you get, like a strobe, decomp, or whatever, you still need to find stuff that way, and Eru is very good at that. Like,
just the very.
He found also the death glitch the Death Star respawn on with the monkey star. The new glitchy walk is that like you go super fast.
Oh yeah,
in TTM also. Like I don't know, he does a lot of good stuff, and it's really cool to see.
Yeah, SM64 is definitely much better. Like it's much cooler with all the like cool things that they found.
Yeah.
So here's the last series of questions. We're gonna start winding down with a couple various questions. So. This was one I thought was really cool. What was it like to watch the TAS live back with Cheese?
Okay, so I was actually a bit nervous at the beginning because I have never been live like on camera before. But I think Cheese knew that, and he helped me a lot with that, and to feel like super comfortable, and that was really nice. And seeing that live, it was cool because I was looking at the chat. I was nervous because I have never been in a chat with like 1,000 people.
Yeah.
and reading the chat and people like having like very good feedback. So it was actually, I got motivated like during the stream, and I got comfortable with it. So in the end, it was like really nice.
Yeah. I mean, it was a really cool thing to watch.
Yeah, and also we talk after off stream with him and sharing points of view, and it's true that we have a lot of different points of view because I mainly TAS the game and he speedrun it. So we have different knowledge of the same game, which is actually interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how there's a lot of like SM64 stuff. Like they can tell you like the RTA strategies they use, and we can tell you like the TAS strategies, but they're not really like that's similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and also about knowledge itself. Like I can tell him why something is faster technically because we care more about that. For example, when like a double jump kick is faster here because whatever.
Yeah.
But then he can tell me lag reduction. He can explain me that because we don't have that in emulator.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So we have like different knowledge, but some knowledge we use more, some knowledge they use more. Like it's actually interesting.
I never even thought about lag reduction. Yeah, that's a thing a lot of TASers don't really have a lot of experience with.
Yeah, exactly, because we don't do it. We don't have to do it because our emulator doesn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So, on to another various question. Who was your dream TAS collaborator? Who would you really like to collaborate with the most?
That's a really hard question. I have never think before, I think. Because, I mean, people that it will be in games I have already tasked. And, I mean, probably the best people I can think of, I have already worked with them. So,
Minor flex, really hard just saying.
I mean, it's actually really hard to. I mean, right now with the community, it's actually really easy to work with almost everybody. So
yeah.
So I don't know if I am able to find a good answer of this. I will need to think about that. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we could think about that. You can answer in the comments later. I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. What is your favorite TAS you've ever seen that you didn't make?
Favorite TAS? Okay.
That you played like no part in?
If it was about Super Mario 64, it would be any of the Eru TASes, as I said before.
Well, let's say a non-SM64 TAS.
But if it was, if it was non-Super Mario 64, that's a
bit of a hard question.
Because I have seen a lot
at the end, right?
The thing is, I have seen a lot of really cool TASes, but since I haven't been involved in them, I forget about them really easily. Because it's
makes sense.
I'm not sure right now. The Mario Kart TAS, the Mario Kart DS TAS are really cool.
There you go.
I have never been involved in Mario Kart DS TASing, but they are really cool. They do a lot of stuff that we cannot do in RTA, so
there you go.
It's actually really cool. And Mario Kart Wii, because it's also something I like watching, because it's kind of the same as in Super Mario 64 DS. I was involved in Mario Kart Wii TASing at the very beginning. But right now the community has evolved that a lot, and I think Mario Kart Wii, I'm not sure if it does even have a bigger community than Super Mario 64. TASing is almost the same, I would say.
Really?
But the thing is that you cannot really see that because they don't really work on full run TAS. So they do a lot of time trial in TASes, but there's like so many people involved in Mario Kart Wii right now. There's so many tricks about how is it called that are really cool to see that you can't really do RTA either.
Yeah. TAS only tricks.
Yeah. Super grinding is one of the. I don't know if you have seen any of.
Oh yeah,
Mario
where they
Kart
like
TASes.
bounce up and down. I have some knowledge, right? I knew what you were talking about with the Emerald Bonk. I know what super grinding is.
Yeah. I see that you do. So super grinding is actually really fun to see. I'm sure there's like some other TASes that I have liked a lot, but I cannot remember right now because I haven't been involved in them. So in those games specifically, I mean.
Well, there you go. I mean, I think that was a pretty good answer, honestly. There you go. So do you have any advice for new TASers?
I think the advice I would give for new TASers is that, first of all, you need to have fun TASing, because you cannot really attempt to learn everything super quickly. Like you need to like go slowly, learning all the tricks, and try also if you want to take TASing like a bit more serious, like take your time learning the tricks and learning to use all the resources we have, like a Stroop and all that, because people, I think, they get really lazy to do that.
They just want to get their runs out the door.
Yeah, exactly. And they don't really learn how to TAS. I think I will say that.
That's a good way of looking at it, I think. So here's the last question of the various questions block. What is next for you?
Okay, so next for me, I think, right now, for the last years, I kept being in a situation where I'm rotating games all the time between Pokemon, Mario Kart, and Super Mario 64.
Yeah.
And right now I'm like kind of coming back to Pokemon a little bit to make explanation videos.
Yeah.
Because I need to rest from TASing from time to time. I need to rest from doing time trials. So I cannot really tell what's my close future going to be. Like maybe I start TASing Super Mario 64 in 3 months, maybe in 1 year, maybe I go back to Mario Kart DS, maybe, I don't know. I kind of keep rotating, depends on my motivation. As
Makes
for
sense.
new games, it will be really hard for me to pick up a new game as of TASing and speedrunning it, because I still play a lot of games casually, but in terms of speedrunning, I think it will still be those 3.
There you go. Well, I am excited to see that explanation video you've been talking about. I've been a fan of those runs. I'm just saying.
Okay.
All right, so now we're on to the actual final section, the Patreon questions. Thanks to all the Patreons that have been supporting Ukikicast over the past couple of months, past year. First one. If you saw a baby holding a delicious piece of candy, would you take it from the baby and eat it?
I'm not a real fan of candy stuff, so maybe it was a burger or something.
All right, so if it was a burger, if the baby had the burger, would you eat the burger?
Depends if he started to eat or not, I guess.
It's uneaten burger, like still fresh. Would you take it from the baby?
that can be tempting. I guess I wouldn't, but it's tempting.
That's fair. That's honestly the best way I've heard it put. A part of me would want to, but I probably wouldn't. It's the babies.
Yeah.
Next Patreon question: how the hell did you get an animated Twitter profile picture?
Okay, yeah, that's a nice question. So Twitter allowed animated profile pictures back in 2012, and I don't know how long it lasted. Maybe in 2013 as well. So that was my profile picture back in 2012. Then they disabled that, and nobody can add animated Twitter profiles anymore. But the ones that were created back then are still there.
They're grandfathered in.
So basically, I haven't changed my profile picture since then, and I'm done. And I don't have any plan on changing it because I will lose my animated Twitter profile.
Yeah, it's so cool. Oh man.
So yeah, I think it's cool because like right now, like not many people have that.
Yeah, I think you're the only person I can really think of that actually has that. And I always just look at it sometimes and like, man, this is so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so but that's basically it. I think it was in YouTube something similar, but I haven't seen anybody with an animated YouTube profile picture, so I don't know if that was completely remote or not. But in Twitter, it works like that, yeah.
Huh. Dang.
So if you want to have now an animated profile picture, you just can't.
Yeah, go back in time like 10 years.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. Well, for the final Patreon question, when is more SM64 TAS piano covers?
I actually would love to do more piano content, but I need to think about what to do. Wow. I have had a very good ideas, but
how about like single stars?
I had one idea of trying to complete Super Mario Bros. By just playing the piano. But it was very hard. But I was able to. I mean, I mapped my piano keys in a way that they will like move to the right or to the left, and I was able to complete Super Mario Bros. 1-1.
Huh.
By playing the Super Mario song. So
really?
So I had that idea in mind, and one day I will try to go back to that idea, but I don't know. I mean, I would love to do more piano content. Yeah.
That would seem super cool, honestly.
Yeah, talking about that, I saw do you know Happily, right?
Yeah, I know Happily.
Have you seen his video that he sings to?
Oh yeah. Well,
that's super cool.
Does he? It's not really singing, right? It's like
I mean, he's like
the
like
hand instrument. I think he calls it.
Yeah, it's like you have to like go to a specific pitch to like do what he wants. Yeah.
Huh.
It's similar to singing. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
So I have had a lot of ideas that I could do with like piano and Super Mario 64 or Super Mario Bros. I took that because I mean the movement is easier now. Like
it's simple and easy to understand.
Obviously, speedrunning is not easy at all in that game. But the mode, I mean, play casually is much easier.
It's very accessible.
So I had a lot of ideas, and about doing Super Mario 64 TAS piano covers. I mean, that's hard because I think it will be repetitive at the end. But having ideas with piano itself, I mean, I would like to do more, but I need to think and have the time to do it also.
That would be very interesting. I'd love to see more of that content. So reaching close to the end here, this has been a great podcast, great episode so far. Is there anything I missed that you'd like to talk about?
Not that I can think of, I think.
Nice.
We have talked about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, there you go. Thank you, MKDasher, for being here on the 7th episode of Ukikicast. It's been a great episode. I really enjoyed talking to you. Sorry for putting off the scheduling for so long. Mostly my fault.
It's fine. I mean, it was a really nice experience for me also. And as you know, I'm not really used to speaking English that much as I type. So it's actually a good experience for me to do this.
Oh yeah, you were great. Your English was great. You were great.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, this wraps up the 7th episode of Ukikicast. I have been your host, 11059. This has been the MKDasher episode. We will see you guys next time. Peace out.